Alright guys, my dad did the craziest stuff coming up, throwing helmets, pushing me around, yelling and cussing. So here are my 5 things that I think that every parent should know that's gonna parent and coach their motocross kid.
I think the 5th thing I'm gonna talk about is probably the most important, so make sure you stick around for the 5th one. It's a doozy. So the first thing is it's not how much you ride, it's what you do when you are riding. So I wish I would have known, and I'd save myself probably countless injuries and tons of laps. I wish I would have known that I should have had something to work on the whole time. And when I was coming up as a kid, it was just how fast you could go. I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to that. Is like you just go on the track and you do the best you can. And ultimately, since it's a speed-driven sport, we're just trying to go faster. Well, I just didn't know there were so many little pieces that needed to add up for it to all work. And of course, I wasn't working on any of that. I was just going out and ripping laps. So the first thing is have some intention when you go to the track. Have something to work on. It's not about quantity. It's 100% about the quality of your riding. The next thing is you don't need a track to vastly improve. And so where I'm going with that is there's so many little things that you can learn just by riding on a flat little corner track in your buddy's yard, in your yard, in a pasture somewhere. And so if I would have known that there's a big, huge kind of foundational skill set that I could have acquired on half an acre somewhere, I probably would have been a lot better a lot earlier. But instead, I just waited until the track opened up on Thursdays, and then we would occasionally race on Saturdays, so I would get 2 days a week. And you guys know when you go to the track like that, especially in organized practice, you're getting maybe an hour of seat time, and on a race day, a lot of times even less. If you go in your backyard and ride an oval the correct way for an hour, it's a whole different experience. There's less distractions, and there's many things that you can start to build as a habit in the process. So it's definitely not about where you ride. It's how you can get the right amount of reps, or the right reps a lot of times. The third big thing that I think really messed me up is that racing too much just digs in bad habits and has you in fight or flight mode all of the time. And what I mean by that is when you head to the track, a lot like I said earlier, your goal is to just rip it as hard as you can. Now the problem with that is it's very hard to change what you're doing when you only have one mode, and that's wide open. So if you only have one mode and it's wide open, it's very, very, very hard to change what you're doing. And of course, when you go to the races, your goal is to just give it all it's got. Get the best position you can, go as fast as you know how to ride. And so that ends up being the majority of a lot of people's seat time is just this super anxious, trying to survive, go as fast as possible riding, when in reality, you want to be practicing at about 70% most of the time and making it as perfect as you possibly can. So don't ride 110% all the time. Of course, you need to be able to wick it up, but the best in the world, they just do that a straightaway or 2 at a time. They typically aren't riding at 100%, even in very important races for a lot of money. They're going to ride around 80, 85%, and they can manage that for the extended period of time they have to race. We have a real big issue with just sprint laps and, hang it out. So calm it down, slow it down, get it right. The fourth thing, and maybe this should have been up in the order because it's super important, is really knowing how to use all the controls on the bike. Now, I get this in my clinics all the time where someone will come in and they only really know how to use one of the 2 brakes. Most of the time, they overuse the front brake. And then also knowing when to use the clutch and when not to, and not overusing the clutch. So my issue was I underused the rear brake, so my bike was always coming into the corner stink bug, and then I overused the clutch. So when it was coming out, the power was always disrupted, and I never really found true left to right balance in the corner. So knowing the controls really well, being able to utilize them when necessary to make the bike work as good as possible is extremely important. And again, it's something that you can do just on flat ground. We have a ton of camps traveling around the country and even some out of the country. If you guys are interested in some really great training, I would love to have you guys at a clinic. We're gonna leave the link down here. You guys can click on the website. I'm sure we have something pretty close to you. We're in almost all the states. I think we're doing 43, 44 states this year. I would love to see you guys. Come see us at a clinic. The 5th one, and this is a doozy, is understanding. I wish my dad would have understood how to communicate with me when he was frustrated. I don't know how many times I rode home from the track just like wide-eyed and like not knowing what's coming next, of him being angry or me not performing to the level that he wanted. Now, of course, there's sometimes kids need a little bit of a kick in the butt. They need a little bit of, push, I guess you will. But most of the time, yelling at them and kind of reprimanding them it actually takes them the other direction. Even though they say that they want to keep doing it, every little time you do that, there's a little piece of them that you lose. So I think it's very important that you guys have a game plan of how you're going to communicate your frustration. And everyone's allowed to be mad and everyone's allowed to be frustrated, but how you communicate that frustration goes a really long way. And so what I like to do with my son is if he's done something to piss me off, which he very rarely, we don't really have these moments riding because he doesn't race, we don't have anything on the line. But what I'll do is I'll go take a little 20-30 second walk to myself, and then I'll come up with like, all right, I'm going to ask him how he felt he did. How'd you feel you did? Oh, I didn't do that good. Well, why? Like, why don't you feel that way? And kind of get to the bottom, get to the source of the problem, not just yell at the fact that it just didn't go well. So having a really constructive criticism kind of conversation after the race is over, they're already going to beat themselves up most of the time. They're already going to be hard on themselves. So them feeling like you're an actual teammate, an ally instead of an enemy when things go wrong is going to build trust. They're going to want you there longer, and they're going to listen to you better.